Hey guys, Rich with Rich Rebuilds here, and as you all know, my email address is public and I get a lot of questions from people covering all kinds of random topics, and the top questions I get are, can you build me a Tesla? When are you going to finish the Cyber Quad? And the number one question I still get to this day is, how fat is your wife? But of all my messages, the most moving one was in an email I got from a woman named Jessica who owns a Tesla Model 3. Now, after reading this email, I wanted to give my sincerest apology to Tesla owners. I know over the last several years, I've been harsh on them, and I never knew the error of my ways until I got into the mind of a Model 3 owner.
Hi, Rich. This is Jessica, and I represent a very large Model 3 owners group. We recently heard you were considering buying a gas car, and I wanted you to strongly reconsider this. They're terrible for the earth, and as Tesla owners, we love our earth. We love our nature, our planet. Our planet's the only one we have. And the internal combustion engine is archaic, outdated, it smells, and it's driving the death out of our planet. Without trees, how can we enjoy nature? Like we are now. I'm part of the earth. We are part of the earth. We are Gaia, mother of all life. Before you think about getting a gas-powered car, please think about the planet. Because we think about our planet every day. Please reconsider. Love, Jessica, our Mother Earth, and Moon, the spirit wolf.
Jessica, that was very heartfelt. Thank you very much for shaming me for my personal preferences on the cars that I drive. You are a true spirit of Tesla ownership. And if I learned anything from this, it's that I need to get rid of one of my Teslas and release them into the wild so Gaia can reclaim her. And in order to do that, I whipped out my phone, scanned the plate with my handy dandy eBay Motors app, and then I listed the $100,000 electric car that's destined to save the planet, and immediately started scanning for the next big thing. I heard the second week of June, eBay is giving away $100 when someone buys any car on the eBay app, so I got really excited to see what's out there. Now, I learned my lesson from all the Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace weirdos that'll sell me a car if they can see a picture of my toes, and I don't play those games most of the time, but I can bid with confidence on eBay Motors knowing they'll cover me up to $100,000. Now, I've been looking at other cars and I noticed that the app even has a chat section so you can slide into the seller's DMs and make triple sure they have supercharging enabled, because you know what it's like when you're on a road trip and Tesla disables your supercharging ability in a hilarious random lottery of failure. So then I started looking at this new car that's generating a lot of hype from Porsche, the Taycan. And when I saw the price, I immediately, like a gazelle in the southern Himalayas. But my boy Steven texted me a news article that some person managed to crash a Taycan after owning it for 36 hours. It was probably the first time in a high-powered electric car. The torque can surprise many. Just like the lucky first Tesla owners of all the lawsuits that Tesla received of their cars, mysteriously accelerating on their own into solid objects for no reason whatsoever. Fascinating. Let's go hop in the car, take the 5-hour drive to check this thing out. All right, Playboys and girls, we're headed to see the Taycan right now, the Porsche Taycan, at our friends over at Copart in New Jersey. This is the world's first wrecked one. We're going to take an in-depth look today and see what this car is all about. It looks like the damage is a little bit worse than we originally think. It says the primary damage is undercarriage damage, and as you know, at the Taycan, the battery's underneath the car, just like the Model S. So we're going to see just how bad that damage is, and if there's a huge hit, dent, rock, or even puncture of the battery somehow, I think it might potentially be off limits. Happiest day of my life, man. We're gonna look at the car that I've wanted for such a long time. It's not even funny. This is it. The
My
Maserati
God.
DB. Look at this thing, dude. This is the epitome of trash. This is like, I get it. Like, you probably have one, you like it. Like, there's no point in having one of these cars at all. And I say that because you could buy one of these for a ridiculous amount of money, or you could buy my Tesla Model S for 20 grand that I have for sale. I'll tell you more about that later. You open this car up, the first, I bet you this car smells like Black & Mild's, guarantee. And I bet you any money, what kind of air freshener do you think is in this car? The green tree or the black tree?
I'm gonna go with black.
Black streak.
The only way.
All right, I don't see any. I think we're good so far. The interior reeks, it smells. There's that awkward perforated plastic that's not really leather, but they try to make it look luxurious, but it's not. This bizarre wood trim, like for a luxury car, for a Maserati, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Look at that, look.
Oh.
Look,
oh.
Look at that, what's that say?
Oh, gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is.
Exactly, but there's more black ice in this car somewhere.
You think that's what
I know
caused the
there's
crash?
more. It might have caused the crash, yeah. Here's the black ice spray too.
No.
The spray.
Oh.
Told you, man. Obviously, this person wants some curb hopping there. Look at bald tires. Huh. That's odd.
It's like,
How could this have happened?
you think they were racing?
Not in this thing, no. These seats look like police interceptor seats. You know the police intercept, like the vinyl hard plastic back seats?
Have you been in one? Yeah.
No, my friend told me that he's been incarcerated several times. When he rides the back of a police car, there are these hard plastic seats like that because they're easy to wash down. You get a hose and you just spray up all the blood and semen from the criminals that were back here. Now let's really talk about the car that we came here for today. This car, I've been simping over, as you could say, for a very long time. The Taycan, whatever you call it. This is
Toucan?
an awesome looking car. Admit, Steven, in person, this car looks way better in person than it does
Exponentially.
in the photos and stuff. Look at the brakes on this car. You know, look at the brakes on this one compared to a standard Tesla. Yes, the Tesla ones are great. They stop the car well, but their idea of performance was painting them red. Porsche, the front calipers, the rear calipers, the front disc, the rear disc, those are all cooled. You could tell by the cooling passages here and the hot air exits the other side. You can tell they were completely track focused. How this car will do against the plaid mode Raven Tesla, I'm not really sure. I kind of think the Tesla's going to take the edge, but I got to say, for a first attempt, Porsche, oh my God, 10 times out of 10, if I had 100 grand right now, no joke, 100 grand right now, would I choose this or would I choose a plaid mode, fully loaded Tesla Model S? Steven, I don't know, man. This is there's a lot it doesn't do. It doesn't drive itself. It doesn't have the technology that the Tesla has, but it's a mean car. And what I like about this is that it's not a Tesla. You know what I mean? Like when I show up somewhere, I'm not just like everyone else. This thing has a friggin' presence. Imagine this thing with nice set of wheels on it. Oh, mwah, mwah. I know the person that designed these wheels is probably gonna watch this video.
Dude, they're like the Model 3 covers.
You should be pulled apart by horses in 4 different directions for sure.
It's for the range, Richard.
My gosh, man.
For the
Like,
range.
who's thinking of range? When you have like 600 plus horsepower, what do you, range?
They really wanted to have
What are you, a peasant? Get out of here. Oh. It's just so different. The design's awesome. The front looks like a frog. I like frogs. I like this car. The second thing I noticed is obviously the charge port. This person obviously doesn't have the expensive charge port that you have to rub your middle finger under to open.
How do you do it?
You have to go like this. That does not work. This one is the one for peasants, the same one that my i8 has. Does it have DC fast? Yeah, it does.
Hey.
Look at that, huh? So, but the cool thing about this one is that it has one on this side and one on the other side, I'm pretty sure.
It's like your Model X door.
See? I don't want to break it. Look at this wheel. Jeez. These wheels in person are a lot worse than I thought. I thought these were actually open spokes, but they're just black and they look like they're multi-spoke, but they're not. They're really an awkward kind of 5-spoke looking wheel. I thought these were kind of hollow in
That's
a
a
way.
cliche EV
But
wheel.
What a weird wheel. Huge brakes though. Look at the friggin' brakes on this thing, man.
Yeah.
Massive brakes. Massive brakes. Obviously, this is a cooling tube of some sort that was pinched.
Huh?
What is that?
A little puddle there.
That's definitely battery coolant for sure. But this is Tesla's literal competition, you know. And I think that from the way it looks damn good, Steven. I mean, it's very reminiscent. Thankfully, we have a Tesla Model S right next door to compare it to. This body style and design, it makes the Tesla look dated. It really does.
Oof,
I think
fighting
so.
words.
I think, yeah, you could cry all you want. Fanboys, you can cry all you want. You can run back to your mommies, run back to your little caves. But I'll tell you right now, this does make the Model S look dated. The Model S came out in 2012. That's an 8-year-old design. This is fresh. This is new. I think Tesla did a great job. It still looks timeless. It's still a great looking design, but the Porsche does make it look dated. One thing that looks dated on this car is this disgusting rear bumper. I don't know whose idea that was to have a piece of rugged plastic stick out 4 inches past the actual bumper. That's ridiculous. But no, this is cool. Obviously, this is the third brake light.
Dude, I like the whole.
I do.
It's like the electric board.
Yeah.
That's
I love
sick.
that lights up. That has to light up, man.
I would hope so.
That has to light up. But they did a great job with that. That looks cool. The design cues are awesome. If there's one thing they can do, Porsche can design a freaking car. And I talked a lot of crap too. I thought that this car looked very similar to the Panamera, but not really. Like, there's definitely design cues that they both share. But I will say that this one definitely looks a lot better
Yeah, it does.
in person, like by far. After I open the door, I'm curious to see how the car reacts, because a lot of Teslas, they won't even really let you into the car if the battery's dead. Like, I wonder if I start pushing buttons on the inside, whether or not the car's gonna have any response, but we're gonna see soon. Right here, the suspension looks in check. It's air suspension. There's the leveler right here to tell the car how high or how low the car sits. There's the front motor right here, right about here. You see that? There's the front motor. I'm curious to see how large that is. I wonder if we could actually open this thing up and get some specs on that. Maybe it says Tesla on it. Wouldn't that be a plot twist and a half? Little did we know. A long time ago, fun fact, a person from Porsche reached out to me to see if I had any large Tesla drive units for sale for some testing purposes. This is a long time ago when I was first rebuilding Dolores, so obviously this very well could be the end product of that. You know what I mean? So I want to say that I helped design and build this car and foster this vehicle. So you can thank me in the comment section below.
Nice job.
Thank you. You're welcome. Front facing camera. Let's see, there's a radar sensor right there. That's probably for the active cruise control. On this side, I really wonder how much this front bumper would cost. This is a State Farm car. I almost want to call State Farm and I want to go down the list of the insurance report to see, hey, look, what was wrecked on this vehicle? And I think they'll send me a copy of it. That way I could break down and see what does a Porsche Taycan front bumper go for. And I think, honestly, if you were to buy this car, let's just say that, you know, you don't have any money like me, you could jerry-rig this car back together. Like, a lot of this side panel stuff here, that's obviously cosmetic. You get a roll of Home Depot of that, what do you call it, the roof shielding, and you just put that right here, like a big rubber. You know what they do? What do those Civic owners do again? What they do is they go, you know the garage door gasket? Like when a garage door closes, it's the trim that prevents air from coming into your garage sill. You slap a thick bead of that right here, you'll be all set. Same thing with the fan. That's still, let's see, that fan's still.
Hey.
Yeah, that fan doesn't really spin.
Right.
You might need a new fan. However, you go to Harbor Freight. Actually, no. In these trying times, you can't go to Harbor Freight anymore because they're in the middle of a big jack stand lawsuit. So I don't know if I would trust a Harbor Freight fan on there. I'd probably go for a Home Depot fan, something a little more high end.
Here, you really get a nice.
I will say, this also looks like a frog. A little bit. The Model 3 looks like a frog, but this is the Model 3 frog. If you look at the Taycan, it is also a frog. But I like this frog. That's more of like a toad. This is like a Brazilian tree frog of some sort, some exotic creature. Look where the coolant lines run. They run on the outside of the car, which is very interesting because in the Tesla Model S, remember there's a channel on the inside of the Tesla Model S that the cooling lines run through. So in the event of a side collision, which is obviously very common, those things are protected. So it's very interesting how they ran it on the outside of the car. You know how the inside, you see it before where they have those fins, it's the channel that builds the external structure of the S. The coolant tubes run through there. Them running them on the inside and also literally having them right in the fender.
Seems like an afterthought. Yeah.
I don't know about that. If there's an issue with the wheel, you smack your rear wheel, it goes to the front and crushes those tubes. Shut your door too hard. Like that's very close. Obviously, there's a kick panel on the other side that protects a lot of that, but it's still interesting. I'm not saying it's bad. Obviously, the engineers that designed it, they know what they're doing. But at the same time, you also have the accountants and the penny pinchers that say, hey, you know what? You have a budget, do the same thing, but make it $5. See, this car has the 360 view. You see cameras all around it. I wish Tesla had that.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. That was a miss.
Wanna hop on the other side? No, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dude, the seating position, do you feel this thing? Dude, the seating position in this car, it's actually kind of fresh. You feel like you're in like a spaceship of some sort. I wish a lot of these things turned on. That would have been really cool. This has the Bose audio. People still have Bose audio? What the hell's going on here, Steven? The inside of this car is freaking nice, dude. Kind of interesting how you have a touchscreen controlling another touchscreen. So you use this touchscreen to control this touchscreen up here when you could just touch this one. Obviously, you don't want to stretch more than 2 inches to touch something.
No.
But you could easily touch that screen there. I like the waterfall lower dash portion. This waterfall, the first place I saw this was on the old Volvos. It was a Volvo that had this, where like the bezel in the back was completely open. I don't know what the hell you're gonna put in here. You immediately want to say to yourself, you know what, I want the air vents to point on me, but unfortunately they don't do that. You control these air vents and the way they turn into the menu, just like the Model 3. But on the Model 3, all you do is you have a very thin bezel that the air just kind of blows out like a Dyson fan. This one, it's purposeful, and you have the vents right there. So initially, you would think to kind of just play with them and like turn them on yourself, but you can't do that. You have to go into the menu settings, and you have to push buttons as to where you want the air to come out and what direction it goes in. On the Model 3, it makes more sense because that design's a lot simpler. On this car, I'm not 100% sure. This thin glass right here, that's a badass design. One thing I don't really like that much is this shaver right here when it comes to the little dongle to put it into drive, neutral, and reverse. It looks like that little thing, that little shaver you put on your neck, you know, in the bathroom. Or like a microphone. You know the microphones that you use to, you know, if you're like Alicia Keys or something, or some kind of singer. That's kind of a weird thing. But I like the fact that when everything is off, it's completely black. In a lot of cases, you have cars that have gauges that are just dim, or you have the analog gauges that are still there when the car is off. But when everything's off in this car, even when everything's off, the design looks absolutely awesome. Cup holders. Is this locked? Are they preventing me from my natural God-given right to get in here? Oh, there we go. There's a button right there.
Is there black ice?
No black ice, no.
Just a little wank.
So let's see what they have here. They have USB-C, so that's good. They're thinking of the future. There's 2 USB-C ports in there, and there's also a 12 volt in there too.
How do you like the seat?
I like the seat.
Seat hugs you.
It's sporty. The
Nice
seat hugs
way.
you. Nice bolsters. I want to get in the back and see what it's like back there. If you look here, there's actually 2 more USB charging slots back there too. And I also want to fold the rear seats down, and I want to see what it's like in the trunk, because I don't think people really go in the trunk of a car, right?
Unless you're dead.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. Bose. That just kills me.
Dude, it's a good sound system.
It's a good sound system, but you know what? You don't have to flex like that. Come on. I will say that the Model 3 audio system, believe it or not, I know it's a cheap car, but it's still one of the best audio systems I've heard, and they don't have to plaster any logos on it. I'd be shocked to see if this system outperforms the system that I hear in the Model S's and the Model 3. So whatever. Let's get in the back seat. It's snug back here, dude. I mean, granted, yes, this seat is pretty much all the way back, but you could tell, like, even though the bolsters on each side, they hug you. There's not a lot of room in these seats for error. It was very obvious that there was someone in this back seat. The seat likely detected weight back here, and it was able to explode that airbag. If you look right here, the seat belt is fully tensioned, so someone was in this specific seat when the car was in an accident. Back here, there's also a really cool touchscreen panel, and I wonder, it's the same thing. You really can't control what comes out of what vent, manually at least. You're gonna have to go into the touchscreen system to control that. I don't really like that all that much. I think it's kind of, you know, not really intuitive, but hey, whatever, that's where the future's going. Let's see what's back here. 2 more cup holders.
There's no champagne holder.
No champagne. Oh, look at this.
Hey.
The boot, as they say. It's a boot. Yeah, obviously I can't fold those down all the way. It's nice and clean. It's very small. I don't know how to define this car. Is this car considered as a sport hatch? Yeah, it doesn't feel very roomy in this car. This is a very chintzy piece of metal in there that I want to show you guys. It's extremely chintzy. Look right there. Look at that. And it's not finished. I don't know if there was something there in the past, but it looks very, you know what I mean? It's like, huh? How much is this car again? And now here's an exclusive look, the very first look underneath a Porsche Taycan, whatever you call it. This mesh and foam undertones are completely stripped altogether. This would have to be removed, and a really thorough analysis of the bottom of the car would have to be done. The radiator bracket, if you look at the bracket for the radiators and the fan, that's completely torn off. On this side, the rim itself is cracked. or the wheel is cracked, whatever you call it, these snobs. Lower control arms on both sides are porked. That. The control arm here is broken. That spindle's done. This spindle is done on this side. This just smoked. So you're gonna need a suspension on both sides. You will likely need a new brake caliper as well on this side, because when that wheel got pushed in, it likely caused damage to that caliper, and there's a big chunk sticking out of it there. That will likely have to be replaced. Maybe you could get away with not replacing it if you're Sam Crack, but but that's gonna have to be redone for sure. A lot of these plastics are toast. Again, this is cosmetic. You could fix that later when you have some more money, which you probably won't, because you spent all this money buying the car in the first place. Right here, this reservoir, I'm not sure if that's windshield washer or not, but either way, that's completely crushed.
Dude, the horns are intact.
Thank God the horns are fine.
That's a big plus.
Yeah, the horns are fine.
That's a big plus.
Thank goodness. And it almost seems like there might be a smaller shell on the inside, because I could push this and actually move this metal. So that might be the initial casing, whereas the Tesla Model S, it's solid aluminum all the way through. I could tell this is much thinner. It almost looks like a lot of this is cosmetic. Oh, wow. Yeah, so there is. So there's another level. Yeah, there we go. So I was right. So look at that. This is the initial casing, and I feel like this is the actual casing for the battery itself. So I think the batteries live just behind that.
In there.
There is some
Condensation.
Station in there. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it was exposed to water. I don't know if the batteries were generating so much heat at the time, obviously when the car was moved to a cooler temperature, and condensation formed. But we don't really know. We don't really know.
The window's been open. We know that.
Yeah, the window's been open. I don't really know if there's
it.
a channel that directs right to the battery somehow. I don't really know if from the sides perhaps. So I don't really know if there is a gap in between the top half of the battery. I'm pretty sure there's some trim that fell off here, but that is rubber, so I'm not really sure what the plan was here. So maybe when this door was open, water came down and actually slipped at the top of the battery.
To say, because it looks like it trays in.
Yeah, and almost like a drip tray in a way. That is not great. The cooling tubes, the battery were pinched. We don't know how fast the person was going. We don't know if the battery was overheated. It looks like this is the air suspension tank on this side right here. Air suspension tank, that got a good scuff. That has to be replaced for sure. And you gotta wonder where a lot of these cars are coming from, because I'm assuming this car might not share as many parts as we think with the Panamera, even though they look very similar. This rim there's a huge gouge in it. This rim has to be replaced. Look at that. This control arm here, that's split. So it looks like this car needs a full suspension on all four sides, honestly. Like I've yet to see a car this messed up where all four sides are messed up on this car. I don't even know what that is. It looks like that's a bracket that holds maybe an ECU of some sort or some random harness. I don't know what's in there, but I know these connectors, there's a bracket for those connectors that's broken too.
Looks like it's connected to the air balancer.
Yeah, and then look, there's some cut wiring here. I don't know what that does, but I mean, this entire car has to be taken apart. It's seen better days. And as of right now, these parts are unobtainium because,
Is it like plutonium?
It's like plutonium, yeah. Plutonium, but you could probably you're likely to get more plutonium than parts for this car already, because it just came out. It's a brand new car, so parts are definitely a limiting factor for it. I mean, there's a few for sale. What you have to do is you have to buy this car, and then you'd have to buy a second car to get the parts off of it. But the unfortunate part is that because there's so few of these cars on the road, you'll be sitting on those parts for a while. The next person that wrecks one, they might not necessarily be looking for parts just yet. I think as these cars get more plentiful, that might be the case, but as of right now, you're gonna be in a hard position. So what I'm gonna try to do, again, I'm gonna call State Farm. I'm gonna call Jake from State Farm to see if I can get the insurance report and add up what a lot of these parts go for. This car, it gives me the same feeling that this car gave me many years ago. Remember when you first saw a Tesla Model S?
I did.
How you were like, wait a minute, they could actually make a cool and a good looking electric vehicle.
My pants got tighter.
Our pants got tighter too, right? But like looking at this reinvigorates that same feeling that I had before. It feels like holy crap, like we're moving more towards the sport-oriented and good-looking EVs. Because honestly, this is the best-looking electric vehicle out right now. I think, in my opinion, I think the no, don't get me wrong. Classic look, I would say this is number 2. I would say this is number 1. With these wheels, I would say this is number 1 and this is number 2. But I think when it's finished, all done up, nice wheels, not those chintzy 5-spokes that are 2 different colors that Porsche has. I think this is the best looking electric vehicle out right now. What do you think's better, Steven?
Yeah.
It's a tough 1 and 2.
Yeah.
What else is out right now?
I like them all.
Everything else is just the vaporware. What other EV is out right now that's even close to one of these 2 cars in terms of looks? Roadster's not out yet. The Roadster's that's cheating. That's not fair. That's the Roadster. It's a Roadster. Come on, let's be real. But there's really nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what car can you go into the store right now and buy that's better looking than one of these 2 cars? Obviously, and not in this condition. There's nothing, Steven. Challenge me. There's nothing.
No.
The Hyundai Iconic. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this episode. What do you guys think about the car? It's going to be up for bidding in about 30 days or so. Should I bid on it? And how much do you think I should bid? And maybe, just maybe, there's something I already know about this car that you don't, and what's actually going to happen to it. Maybe it's already in my garage. Who knows? If you want more car shenanigans, follow me on Instagram at RichieBKid, and also shout out to eBay Motors for making this happen. Try them out. Download the app in the description box below, and I will see you all soon.